But right now we're going to skip over extract participant list, and I'm only going to cover that if it's something you guys foresee yourselves using. But I am going to cover the two most popular options right now, which are merge session files and participant merge. Merging session files will allow you to go ahead and aggregate information from multiple different sessions. This is going to be used in two different types of scenarios. First of all, if I have the same PowerPoints with the same turning point questions, and I use that with various audiences, maybe 2, 3, 4, 20 audiences, and it's all the same presentation, well, that means that I have 2, 3, 4, 20 different session files. But if I merge them all together, it's going to aggregate the results into one single session file, and it's going to combine the data from all the questions. The other thing merging session files will do is that if you have different questions, but maybe you have the same audience go through them, instead of having all these individual session files out there, it'll merge all the questions into one single session file, so you can see all the questions from all the presentations in that one file. So let's go ahead and click on this. Now, when I click on Merge Session Files, immediately it wants me to go ahead and select the files that I want to merge together. So if I scroll down here, I'll merge together all the ones that say Aaron. Okay, so I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and I got quite a few on there. Now that I've highlighted all the session files that I want to merge together, I'm going to click the Merge tab in the lower left-hand corner. It's going to pop up the Merge Turning Session, and basically from here, I need to name this newly created merge. So maybe I want to call it Final, well, we don't want to go 12, so let's go 13. Click Save, and now it's going to tell me the merge has been completed successfully. Okay, sounds good. But I do want you to recognize that if I scroll down here, I still have the individual Aaron files. But now I have an additional file called Aaron 13, and there it is right there. Okay, so it's going to be a combined session file. So this is great. I have a merge session file, which is going to go ahead and aggregate all the information together. The most important thing about this, though, and the whole goal of this, is to be able to generate reports. So now if I go to Reports, I'm going to select that session file, which is Aaron 13, double-click, and I'm going to go ahead and generate a graphical results by, well, you know what, we'll just do a results. Click Generate Reports. Now, in these sessions, the questions were the same. They were identically the same because it was the same presentation. So it's going to go ahead and aggregate all that information together. It's just going to combine it all. The great thing about TurningPoint is that it is looking for the same question. It doesn't even matter where the question is located in those various presentations. If the question was the same, it will combine the information. Now, when I say the same, I mean the same in every possible way. So if there's a period on the end of one sentence, even if the question's identical in another presentation, if there's no period on it, the software reads it as a completely separate question. And if that's the case, it's going to list it directly below it as a separate question. So take a look at this one. You can see the total for question 1 is 504. I can promise you that there were not ever 504 people in a single audience. But because the question was the same, it aggregated all the information together into one final result. If the questions were different, then it's just going to list them in a vertical fashion on top of each other. This is Merge Session Files. You guys have any questions on this?
No.
All right. Now, can you guys see any relevance to any of this stuff I'm showing you so far? Because it's so tough sometimes with the advanced session, because a lot of the information is kind of abstract unless you immediately see yourself using it. But how about those merge session files? Can you see yourselves using that?
Yeah, I think it's good to know that it has these features because we definitely have a need for some of those.
Right, definitely. It's good to know that it's there. Another option that we have here is participant merge. A participant merge is just a simple way to get a final grade on a student. So let's say the student went through 10 presentations that involved TurningPoint slides, which means they have 10 different grades. Well, if we're just looking for one final grade that we can put into a larger grade book, the participant merge will do this for me. So if I click on participant merge, this is the part that is not very intuitive, if I can be completely honest with you. So really tune in for this with what needs to be done from this step. You have an option here. Regardless of what you decide, you still need to put in a folder, but the option is you can put in the individual session files and separate them by putting in individual folders, or you can just put in one folder and put in every single session file and just generate a report. I'm going to do both things, and I'm going to show you the difference what I mean. It's tough for me to explain it. It's better to just show it. So let's say I want to combine maybe 3 quizzes. Okay, so I had the same audience that went through 3 quizzes, so I put the first folder in there and it reads Quiz 1. And let's say this Kathy file was indeed Quiz 1. I put it in there. And they also had another quiz, and we'll call this Quiz 2. Puts it in there. Bring in the session file. And then maybe last week they had another quiz, and we'll call this, go figure, Quiz 3. And we're going to go ahead and bring it over. Okay, so we have 3 session files. And with these 3 session files, I have them separated as Quiz 1, Quiz 2, and Quiz 3, which means when I click this Merge tab down in the lower right-hand corner, I'm going to see 4 columns. I'm going to see a column for their grade with Quiz 1, Quiz 2, and Quiz 3, and then I'm going to see a final column with their combined average. All right, just click Merge. Now with this Merge, you're going to see some goofy numbers, and I'll tell you why in a moment. First of all, you guys are going to be using participant list if this is the case, which means you're going to have first and last name in here. That's the whole point of a participant merge. You're seeing individual results. Since I did put those individual folders in there, I have Quiz 1, Quiz 2, and Quiz 3, and then a final. Now, the reason I have 1,133% is because these are merges on top of merges on top of merges, and it's just getting out of control. I definitely need to start from scratch here. But you're going to have these individual grades. You're going to have the individual grades, and it's going to give you a final average in this total column. This is the first way to do this participant merge. So if you want to separate those individual grades out, you can still see them. Now the other way to do the participant merge is to just put in one folder. Okay, so maybe we call this final. And then we put in all the ones that we want in that folder. Okay, so maybe this is the same group, and these are all their session files. Okay, we'll put 4 of them in there. So now we just click Merge. And if I'm not interested in seeing each individual grade, it's going to give me the final, which I called that folder, and the total is going to be the same thing, of course. Okay, so it's just going to give me a final average. It's not actually going to give me each individual grade. Okay, so this is a participant merge. This is a nice, easy, quick way to get a combined average on a student who's gone through multiple different Turning Point presentations. Now keep this in mind, I can have a bunch of different classes in here, and I can combine them all. Because here's the great thing about Turning Point, once again. It just looks for students' names. So if no one's going to have my name, Kevin Herholtz. So if Kevin Herholtz is in 5 different presentations, Turning Point's looking for that name to combine that average. Now, if there's a Joe Smith in one session and a Joe Smith in another, I better have something that distinguishes the difference between the 2 Joe Smiths. So I better have Joe D. Smith or something like that. Because Turning Point will recognize that as the same exact person because it's looking for a person's name to get a combined average. It doesn't even matter if the person is in various participant lists. If there's a Joe Smith in 5 different lists, then it's going to combine all those Joe Smith averages together. Does that make sense what I'm saying, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I do want to go ahead and note that on this participant merge, I was keeping it on percentage correct, but you can also do points. And available fields for merge, first name, last name, and device ID. And it's just basically what it is you want that first column to be. So I kept the device ID. You might want first name, last name, so on and so forth. But it is pretty easy once you understand that you can do individual grade, or you can also do a total final column as well. Any questions on that participant merge?
No.
Okay. And back up to the session management. 2 more options that are not very frequently used are export to a CSV and export the session data. Now this would allow you to go ahead and send it to a particular grade book if you're using something perhaps like Easy Grade Pro or something like that. So if I export the session data, find the data that I want to export to the session file, determine what it is about that session that I want to export, click Next. Once again, include specific data to exports. And then from here, this is where it gets, you have to really know what your final result is going to ask for here or where you're trying to export. Most of the time it is comma delimited. And then from here you can go ahead and do a final verification report of everything that's going to be in there and click Finish. Okay, so this is going to send it to whatever grade book you may be using. Most of the time it's Easy Grade Pro, which is the easiest transition.